that note with Parker Whirling.
That's great.
Okay.
And let me triple check. How do you say your last name?
Roness.
Roness. That's what I thought, dude. I thought somebody said Rones once.
The other day, and I let people get away with it, but
Yeah, I get it. I mean, whirling, like
yeah,
I get the mix.
Which one is it?
It's whirling.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. But then the
whirling is kind of easy to say.
Exactly. So they go for that one.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, so Atticus Roness.
Yeah, well,
I should have.
Here's what I'll even say to raise you further. Roness isn't even technically right. It's Roness. The emphasis is on the O.
Oh, okay.
Like that's what I always tell people is like Atticus Roness. That's the O is the powerhouse there.
I see. Yeah.
So many people Atticus Roness, Atticus
The
Roness,
O is the
Atticus
power
Roness.
pop.
I get Roness. Yeah, exactly. The O is the power pop.
Roness, that's kind of tough. I don't like
Roness
that.
Before, yeah.
Cool. Well, Atticus Roness.
Yes.
You're here on the pod with me for what? This is the second time?
Yes, this is our second
Last time you were here, we were talking about Square One, your debut album.
The second best album that I have.
The second best album that you have. And in a week, everybody will get to hear Power Pop World Domination.
And whenever this comes out, I guess it'll be out by then.
Yeah, because this will be out, I think, a couple days before.
I'm next up.
That's right. Yep, because this will be Wednesday, I think 2 days before your album comes out.
Yep.
So we're going to give people a little bit of a sneak peek.
A little taste,
a little taste.
A little appetizer.
Of an appetizer.
I've been listening to the Beatles too much, really.
Oh, speaking of the Beatles, why don't we talk about the album? It's like he's a podcast host.
I was like ready to go.
That's right. We got the Beatles' Revolver as the album you picked from my collection of records. What made you choose this album in particular?
It would be easier to say what would keep me away from choosing this album, because literally everything. First of all, I'll start with the back cover. When we do vinyl of Power Pop World Domination, it will the back looks just like this. We literally just pastiche, parodied it basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love the type, and my new graphic guy, or one of my many graphic people, it takes a village to get all this stuff done. Definitely. He was like, I'm just going to do the back of Revolver. So I was like, that's great. So it looks a lot like this. And when we were, when you're a songwriter, there's droughts, and then there's monsoons where you're just writing every day and everything's great and everything's perfect. And then there's other times where nothing's happening for months. And the time from when the Corduroy Blue ended for, I guess, even before that, February 2023 to June 2023, I wrote all of Square One and all of Power Pop World Domination.
Whoa.
So we were playing these songs while I was making Square One, and that's when I had my band. And so I always knew this was the album that I really wanted to make, but I needed to put something out, something that was easy, something that just kind of got my foot in the door, and Square One did that and a lot more than I expected. But this album was always the one that I wanted to make. I keep pointing at Revolver, Revolver.
You're like, this album right here.
This was, me and my bandmates, we all have similar tastes, but there's also some different stuff. And this is an album we can all agree on. And agree on in an obsessive way. And it's
Revolver.
Yeah, Revolver.
Right.
And Power Pop World Domination.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Revolver. And the song, not the one I'm looking for, one of my singles, is basically just a combination of Rain and She Said, She Said. That's
cool.
What we were trying to do is combine those two songs. And even the Revolver Deluxe mixes where there's not horns, but there's guitars on Gotta Get You Into My Life and Paperback Writer. We took a lot of that and we're how can we implement a hornless Revolver, and kind of just, use the guitars. And because I was really trying to make Power Pop sound like we would play it live. So that might change in the future with other records, but this one I didn't want horns, I didn't want strings, because I've done that before. And I wanted to make it if we were going to play it live, and we do. And so anyways, Revolver really inspired, at least half the songs on it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the drum sounds that Steven's going for, we kept referencing, we would always just, we would go back to Ringo.
The man.
The song Lonely on Power Pop World Domination is the best Ringo impression I've ever heard. So Steven kills that shit.
I'll have to go back and have a keen ear for that.
Yeah.
I'm glad he picked Revolver, because that is my favorite Beatles album. I won't necessarily say it's their best, just because
I can if you want.
Okay, well you can go out on a limb for me, but I just think it's almost like the White Album if they condensed it to the best songs and didn't leave some of the weird ones on there.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite track on Revolver?
This?
Or a top 2 or 3?
I'll give you my top 5.
Which is like half the
Okay,
album.
I'm Only Sleeping's definitely in there.
So
As
good.
I've gotten older, I've become more of a John guy. I think it's just getting older and getting more cynical about the world, maybe.
Maybe so.
But I've definitely gotten more into the John song because I was a Paul guy. I mean, vehemently growing up, and I still think like at my core as a songwriter, I'm more ankled. What the hell? More like
Anchored?
Yeah, anchored in like Paul's style.
Yeah.
And like I think that naturally comes out, but like when I really can put my mind to it, I like to write the kind of John songs. So I'm Only Sleeping, Here, There, and Everywhere, For No One, Tomorrow Never Knows, and then we'll do And Your Bird Can Sing.
And Your Bird Can Sing. Some of the craziest guitar work
some
on
of the
there.
cool. I mean, dude, that's also prototypical power pop. That's
Right. Totally.
Like, that
all that
song-
jangly stuff
Dude,
going
yeah,
on.
John was on one with like that song, Nowhere Man. Some of those those are the earliest power pop songs in my opinion.
Dude, I love that album. I'm so glad he picked it. But we also have to get into
My record.
your record. But even before that, we have to talk about the elephant in the room here, which is you just opened for Drake Bell at Smith's Old Bar. What?
Can I put this down?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I don't want to, but I guess.
Yeah, you could throw it on the floor.
Yeah, it was crazy.
How did that happen? What was that like? I mean, he's an icon of our generation.
I was just gonna say he's extremely famous, and it didn't really hit me until I was actually watching him on stage. So I have a good relationship with Smith's Old Bar, and I've helped them set up shows. We've done a lot of big shows there. It's like I really feel like I'm part of the team in some way there. So when they announced it, I hit up their booking head of booking, and I was like, that's a big deal. Good job securing that. If you need support, just let a brother know. And I was not expecting it at all. I was like, he probably has like a whole rig, whole
people
tour
come
support.
through with their own support.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I've gotten lucky with that before. I mean, I've opened up for some really cool people because I'm not afraid to like I don't know if we've talked about this, but I talk about it with everybody. Like, you kind of have to be delusional and crazy to do what we do because, like, who else is going to go hit up somebody like, hey, can I open for Drake Bell? Like, unless you're crazy. Because you just have to believe in yourself and you have to, like, you're never going to know unless you shoot that shot.
That's so true.
And you could shoot it from way beyond 3, but, shit. You never know until you shoot it. So, anyways, I shot the shot. And then, like, I don't know, 3 weeks. I thought the gig was in May also.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea. So I think I reached out to her about that initially in like February. I thought it was May 25th. And then I guess like a month later, and we kept tabs on it. She was like, send me some stuff. So I sent her some stuff. And she was like, yeah, their team approved you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's
so
amazing.
sick.
And then she was like, yeah, it's next Tuesday. I was like, I thought it was.
Yeah.
I didn't even say. I was like,
you got a week.
okay, cool. It's not even. It was on that Thursday, and the gig was on Tuesday. So it was like 4 days. So I was like, okay, awesome, sounds good. And so, it was pretty unbelievable. And like I had, of course, like I don't even mind it, but there's always the classic of people coming out of the woodwork that haven't talked to me in years, being like, oh my God, no way.
Right.
Like, where have you been the last 6 years? I've been trying to do it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Anyways, I still appreciate it because I like being liked. So that's a nice feeling. But
Preaching to the choir over here.
yeah, exactly. So, but then we get to Smith's, and it's just one of those things where, like, you can just, because I've met a few different, like, important people or famous people, and, like, every time you're in the same space as them, like, the space just feels different. Like, the room just feels
Right.
different. And I, like, walked by his dressing room, and I was like, there's just it was just, like, a presence about it. But I didn't see him, and then I walked out, and I had this, like, sparkly, like, Yankee overcoat thing on or whatever, and I guess dressing crazy pays off because he came out and he was like, dude, I love your jacket, whatever, and I was like, that's awesome. I was like,
you're like, I'm trying not to freak out right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I'm Atticus. He was like, I'm Drake. I was like, I know.
Yeah.
And so
and he loves that kind of like old school tunes.
definitely.
Like
That's why it worked out really well, I thought. Like,
Yeah.
It was like kind of funny that I'm opening for him, but like also I think sonically it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If anybody in the scene was going to open for him, I think it would be me, just in terms of the music style.
Yeah, he loves those old school tunes. I remember a few years. I mean, I must have been 15. Like by the time I was not really watching Drake and Josh as much anymore, hearing that he was putting out his own music, and I remember listening to it and being like, "Oh, this is like
really cool."
Of the Beatles generation, like this, I wouldn't have expected that, and he's still writer. On that wave. It sounds like
the new album's actually really good. I listened to the whole thing. It was
really nice.
And he played some songs from that, but it didn't even like still that whole time. Like even when he was backstage, I think I was just like interacting with like Drake the artist. Like that's kind of who I felt like I was talking to. So it was still important and whatever, but it didn't hit me that it was like somebody I watched growing up until he was on stage.
Yeah.
Like that didn't hit me until I was watching him. I was like, what is happening right now? Like what is happening?
Dude. That is so surreal.
And it was pretty cool. There's also, I found somebody sent me a video. These dudes like did like a meet and greet with him, and like they like filmed what was going on before the show. And I guess the kid's like an influencer, like has millions of followers, and I had no idea. I just thought he was some frat kid from UGA, hanging out with Drake and like getting videos. So, anyways, I'm in that video too. People are just sending me stuff all the time.
That's
right now
wild
about the show. So, it was really crazy experience, and also the room was like people were standing on top of each other. It was packed.
Right.
And I've never really experienced like I've played a lot of really cool gigs, but like I always tell people like. A lot of times gigs, even big exposure gigs, like it would take a lot for it to like really make a difference in your career. This one was not the case. Like this is the kind of gig, like I gained a bunch of followers, a bunch of streams, a bunch of listeners, like that kind of opening for somebody of that notoriety, like does make a difference. And I noticed that very clearly. So that was a big deal for me.
Shout out to Drake Bell.
Shout out, brother. Thank you. Let's do it again.
Dude, that's so sick. Please come back to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. All right, let's pivot over to the new album, Pop World Domination, which is coming out as you're listening to this in 2 days. Not sponsored by Liquid Death, but it could be. You guys hit a brother up.
Guys, come on. It's not like I'm not in your DMs. You know that.
Yeah, come sponsor the next album.
Hang out with us.
So let's get into it. I'm curious. I didn't realize that you wrote all these songs around the same time you wrote Square One.
Yeah.
How did you know which ones were going to be on which one? I mean, I'm assuming you kind of started them all from the same place, like guitar or piano or however you started it.
Well, I think what was important was like, and this is why this album's so special to me, is me and the band. I would definitely say this is the most collaborative album, writing and arranging wise, I've ever made and probably will ever make. Because it was such an interesting time in my life. I was between the Corduroy Blue. I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do. I just knew I loved writing songs, and I knew I could still do it. Like bro still got it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even really know I wanted to make an acoustic album. I just knew me and a guitar, that's going to happen. Some acoustic songs. So I knew that I had enough of those. So I kind of did separate like, all right, which ones are going to be with a band and which ones are going to be by myself. But I didn't like write with that intention. I just wrote songs. But the reason that this album's so important to me is me and my band, Steven and Radley. Shout out, guys.
Shout out.
They
I met them at the Lemon Twigs.
Yeah.
I've met Steven multiple times before that, but
they're homies and two of the most talented guys that I know. But usually when I write songs, it's me by myself and then I bring it to the band. But because I was trying to build chemistry with this new trio that I had, what would happen is, and I wish we did it more honestly, but I just think at that time, like we all had more time and we were trying to build that chemistry. We hadn't really played together that much, so we needed to play more. So we did weekly rehearsals, and not even for shows, just to get tight. And even when we were, I think even, because I don't know if you know, but like when we were doing the Corduroy Blue tour, Luke like broke his finger. We maybe talked about that. So Steven filled in for him. And I even remember when Steven was practicing for the Corduroy Blue, we wrote Ludwig van together.
Oh, cool.
Like one day, Radley wasn't there. It was Andy from Soup Kink and Come Senior. Yeah. He filled in. We wrote Why in a rehearsal. Like not the one I'm looking for. Radley was just playing that bass line during rehearsal. I think maybe for a Corduroy Blue rehearsal or one of my early ones. And we wrote that together. All three singles. That's one of the reasons we picked those three. We all wrote, well, I think Ludwig van I actually did write by myself, but we really fleshed it out together.
Right.
And not the one, Why, Baby Blue. I feel like, the song called Teens.
I love Teens. I love Teens and I love I.
Yeah,
those first two
it's a
tracks.
great way to start the record, I think. I wrote I is the oldest one. I wrote thinking it was going to be a corduroy blues song.
Oh, wow.
A long time ago. And I just knew that like that one had to be used. I was like, this song is too good. I can't not use it. And this is like the perfect. There are certain songs you're like, if it's not at the beginning of the album, I don't know where else I'm going to put it. And so that was where that was going to go. But yeah, this album's super important to me because we all got to make this together, like in a very collaborative way. And that's not usually how I write. So half the record, them having credits on it. And it really hasn't happened that way since. Like we'll write songs together, and there are certain ones like that'll come out in the future that like they helped me write, but it probably won't be like half the record like this one was. It was just a very specific time, very specific chemistry we were trying to build, and I mean because of who they are, they kind of made the sound what it is. Like I didn't know exactly what power pop was. I kind of was running in blind. I mean I knew it, but you know their expertise and what they brought to the songs really made it what it is. And so, yeah, we were definitely writing that during, you know, the beginning stages of becoming a band. So
that's great. And then Caleb Heupel produced, engineered this record, right?
He did.
And he also produced and engineered Square One.
Square One.
So how do you feel like your relationship with him over these two albums has progressed? Because that's a special thing to work with one person over the course of multiple different projects, especially when they sound so different.
Definitely. Well, personally, we've become, I mean, he's one of my best friends in the world. And so personally, there's that aspect of it. Like there's no, I could go on and on and on about like him and his attributes as a producer, but I think a story about it would be more fun. And I think like kind of encapsulate what happened. So this summer, I didn't tell a lot of people, but like I was having a really hard time with my voice. Like, I don't know what it was. Maybe I was misusing it. Maybe I was overusing it, but like I was having a hard time getting the breath support, getting like even talking, like was having a hard time getting sound to come out. It was really, really stressful and very difficult for me. And mentally very draining, like thinking about like, all right, I got to make this album that I'm like putting a ton of money into. And this was already in the making of the album. So we saved the vocals for last on purpose. Because I was like, Caleb, I don't know what's happening to me, but hopefully I snap out of it by the time we have to do vocals. But let's get everything else done. But it was even nerve-wracking making the album in that way because we're making all this stuff. We're putting it all together. And I was like, I have to put vocals on this thing. And because it doesn't sound right until the vocals are on it. Especially my music because the melody is so important. And right before we did vocals, I went on a family trip and it was still bothering me. And I was trying to do the best I could, do all the vocal exercises, breathing exercises. And I think all that helped. But anyway, so the weekend comes where we're supposed to do vocals. And I like had it on my calendar. And I was like, oh my God, here we go. So drove to the studio. We did this at Tweed, by the way. We recorded it at Tweed.
Shout out to Tweed.
And so we get there and him and I both were like, because he knew how much I was struggling with it. And he was trying to approach it with grace. And he was like, we got to do this. So, and I'm not usually a nervous guy. Like, I'm not a nervous fella, especially not when it comes to my voice. I think it's one of my strong suits. But, like, it was just a whole different headspace for me. So, we go in and I think we were trying to get the hardest ones out of the way first. Because we were trying to, like, basically what I would like to do is I think we were going to do, like, 3 of the hardest vocal songs in the first day, do less songs, give myself more rest for the next day, and then get 4 or 5 songs done the next 2 days. Mm-hmm. And so I'm in Love is probably the hardest one because there's a lot of emotion there. There's, like, a falsetto at the end. There's, like, it's a high song during the bridge. So we chose that song first. And it was, I guess, kind of early, maybe 10:30, whatever. I go in and we do a couple takes and it sounds terrible. It just sounds awful. Like I can't find it. I'm having a hard time. It doesn't sound clean. It doesn't sound strong. And I don't crash out very much. Like I'm pretty chill usually, or not chill, but I'm usually pretty, not chill. Yeah. But I'm very, I don't get mad very much.
Sure.
I don't lose my temper.
Yeah.
And I went in, I burst the door open. I was like, I can't do this, dude. I can't. We need to stop. Maybe we'll do this album next year. Like, I'm freaking out.
No.
I was like, we can't do this, dude. We can't. Like, I can't sing. I don't know what's going on with me. I was freaking out. And I went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And he goes, you let me know when you're done. Let me know when you're finished. I was like, I'm not done yet. And so
one more thing.
One more thing. And then I was like, now I'm done. And he was like, I hear you. If you really want to do that, we can do that. But I think you need to get your ass back in there. Take a breath. Take a sip of water. Relax your muscles. Go in there and sing the song like I know you know how to sing that song. And I was like, all right, I'll give one shot. So I don't know what got into me that day, but I went in, and that's the take that's on the album.
Sick.
That next take. And so the next 3 takes, we combined them together.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Caleb, for saving the day.
And it's just like but I tell that story to say, like, he has such a way of understanding me and knowing who I am, having grace, but also having the comfortability to be like, are you done?
Right.
Like being able to not like be a pushover, but also like he's such a sweet guy, and that still carries through always whenever he's telling me anything. And to answer your question, like that builds off of the trust and like support we had with each other on Square One. Like on Square One, I was really driving the ship because it was his first
I remember
album
that.
recording. And I knew exactly what I wanted. And he wanted to, like, he wanted to be a producer. He wanted to put a bunch of stuff on it. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. Like, I'm putting my foot down, like, in a very sweet way, obviously. But I was like, this needs to be a stripped down album. And I'm really glad I did that because now I can go out anytime and play acoustic and it sounds like that record.
Right.
Which is important because there's gigs I want to take that maybe the guys aren't available for or the money's not there. And, I'm down to do it. And I don't want to, I just want to make sure everybody's eating and everybody's happy. And so, but with this one, I was like, all right, Caleb, we can play now. Like, you can have a lot more fun. Like, we can put stuff on this. We can put a bunch of harmonies, put like 3 harmonizing guitars, and, we can put, whatever we want to do on it. There were still limitations. I didn't want to put strings and I didn't want to put horns. Those were 2 important things I didn't want to do on this. Because first of all, I don't like repeating myself. And if you want strings and horns, go listen to the Corduroy Blue.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of it on there.
Right.
And I probably will do that again in the future, but like it'll be more sparing and more of an interesting way. But getting to work with him, and I want to continue to work with him because he just has my vision. He has what I want to do kind of down to a T, and he's easy to talk to, and he knows how to talk to me. So talk me off the ledge on this album.
That's right, dude. Caleb's the man. He helped produce my last song, Gumball, so it was cool to be able to work with him and see how, his approach to these things
How did you like it?
It's great, dude. Yeah. He just brings a lot of care and love to the song.
He does.
I can literally, it was at Tweed as well, so I can literally imagine exactly how that went with you guys when you came in all hot and bothered. Yeah. And he's like, let's take a breath.
Yeah.
Let's go back in there.
Let's try this
instead.
instead.
It's like, let's just do that.
Yeah, he's very much like that. Let's just try this. And
we need to get him back on. Shout out to him and his band, Florence Cardigan. They're great. Yeah, I need to get them on. I don't know what's
awesome.
up.
You need to get Reed and Caleb in here.
Absolutely.
I mean, the whole bunch, but those are the 2 I know.
Totally. So while you're taking a sip of that that liquid death severed lime, we were kind of talking about our sobriety journeys, and you said you wanted to kind of talk about that on the pod. So let's get into that. You're almost at a year now, no alcohol. How are you feeling? And what's that journey been like for you?
Well, first of all, I want to say, actually, somebody brought it up to me. They were like, is it cool to see somebody like Parker doing it as you're doing it? Somebody brought that up to me recently.
Oh, whoa.
And so, first of all, shout out to you because, like, you know what I mean? I did it on my own accord, but seeing somebody else going through a similar journey, similar scene, has been definitely inspiring to me in some way. So I appreciate you and what you do for your journey as well. But
hey, man, thank you. I had the exact same experience seeing somebody else do it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think, like, what I've learned in life, like, I think when you think you've got it figured out is when you're in trouble. And when you are ready, when you've learned a lot, I think is when you're in the mindset, I have so much more to learn. And what I mean by that is, like, I would never say I had, like, an addiction, but there was certainly a dependence on it, a social sort of, like, like a reaction, like just needing to go get one.
Right.
And I just, and there was nothing wrong with that period of my life per se. I just am happier with the person I am. I think I'm more dependable. I think I'm more clear-minded. I think that, and that dependability aspect is really important to me. Like being able to like be called upon like 11 o'clock at night. Hey, my my car's breaking down. Can you pick me up? Me a couple years ago, heck no.
Right.
I'm not in a state to get in the car and drive. Can't
Right.
do that. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, yeah, totally. Let me know where you are. And that sort of energy kind of applies to a lot of different aspects of my life. Like I'm emotionally more dependable. I think spiritually and mentally. And I have just noticed a lot of positive change. It's not always easy, obviously. I actually think the hardest part for me was in the very beginning because I work at a bar and I'm also a musician.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like exposure therapy. Like
Right.
You're seeing like everybody do shots together and you're like, oh, I'll get some pickle juice, just
Right.
and so it was really hard for the first couple weeks. And then after that, it really hasn't been that difficult. There are times,
Totally.
obviously, because life doesn't get easier just because you start to try and better your life. Life still is going to throw stuff at you. And you just have to like push away the desire to want to numb it or also I'm like ADHD. So honestly, like a lot of the time people like will laugh at me. Like it wasn't even that, like I'll just drink a lot of whatever's in front of me.
Yeah.
So I'd rather it be liquid death
than
Tito's and soda.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Cause I'll drink 7 of either one.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, but it's been very cool. And it was really cool. Even though there was like that whole vocal thing I was telling you about, like it was such a cool, rewarding experience to be able to make this album sober. Because every bit of it I was just aware of, the good, the bad, the ugly. I was able to take it in. I was able to use it, I think. And yeah, I just think like I've also seen some different people want to like cut some other things out of their life. I'm not saying I'm the reason they're doing it, but they've definitely been able to come to me about, asking questions or wanting to confide or wanting to have somebody to keep them accountable. And so that's been an honor and a privilege for me to serve, that capacity for somebody.
Yeah, it's really cool to think that you being inspired by somebody else to make this change can not only lead to obviously very positive effects in your own life, but can serve as a reminder to others who you might not even be thinking of in the moment that they can make that change as well. And,
Yep.
and sometimes you don't even realize until way later down the line that your choice, just, pretty much solely for yourself to get to, be better.
Be better, yeah.
Ended up helping somebody else without you even really trying to do that.
You don't really even realize within your own body how much influence you do or don't carry.
Right.
And what people are thinking about you, how they're looking at you. And so all you can do is your thing. And I've noticed that, like, I think if you are confident in a decision and you carry yourself well, and it's not even a thought for me, like, it really is, and I do sympathize with people that have, because I know a lot of people that have much tougher journeys with it than me.
Yeah,
you know
me
what
too,
I mean?
for sure.
And so, like, I don't ever want to, like, say it's super easy to just stop, and, like, everybody's journey is very different.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not really a question of, like, oh, should I, like, you know what I mean? I just kind of shut that part of my brain off. And just, I think when I'm at my best is when I'm underthinking in a way, like not overthinking the decision, because then I'll end up making the wrong one usually. Like, for example, when I named this album Pop World Domination, I wasn't sitting there scribbling like, oh, that won't be it. I just literally had the craziest idea. I was like, Pop World Domination. I don't even think about it. That's
Yeah.
it. And like with the sobriety journey, like if I was sitting at the bar, I was like, nobody's here. Like I earned this one. It's been like 9 months or 10 months. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I started thinking that way, my life would probably be different. But I don't even let those kind of thoughts come in. I'm just underthinking. I'm like, I'm at a bar, club soda, please. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just make the decision. Just make the call. And a lot of things in your life, if you're struggling with decision A or decision B, I find a breath and a step totally will usually put you in the right direction, I find.
A breath and a step. I love that.
Yeah, it's my new adage.
Yeah, it sounds like the next album.
At least a song on
A
it.
breath
Yeah.
and a step.
A breath and a step. That's crazy.
Cool. Well, Atticus Roness. Just kidding.
We even
Almost got
practiced
you.
it before,
Yeah, I
bro.
know. No, I was totally messing with you right there.
Yeah, that was cool. Keep me on
It's
my
time
toes.
to take this over to the last 5, where we're going to go through 5 questions in this little bowl here, and you can answer them at your heart's desire.
Anyways,
Also, shout out Pop World Domination. We got the cassette right here.
you can get them on my Spotify or my website, or the show near you.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Question number 1.
Question number 1 is dream artist producer to work with. My dream producer to work with, I already do.
Nice. Caleb, we love you.
You know who I'd like to be in the room while Caleb's engineering, even though Caleb doesn't even really want to engineer me. He would rather produce probably, but he will engineer me because I will ask him to. I'd like to have Rick Rubin in there with us.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to give us some good tips and what part we should have a cappella and what part shouldn't be. Dream artist, right now, dude, probably the Lemon Twigs.
Of course,
dude, they're on one right now. I mean,
yeah, Brian D'Addario,
they're on a
new
tear.
album.
I think we're getting a Michael solo record next, is my guess.
That would be cool.
And then I think they'll do one together again. That's my Lemon Twigs theory.
It's so funny. I know I'm gonna see you every time I go to a Lemon Twigs.
You already know.
And I know you're gonna be right up front.
What's funny about me is like, okay, don't shoot me, guys. I do like live music, but I think people think I like going to it more than they would expect me to because I'm an artist and a musician. I just like really good live music, and so if it's a band that I love, you'll see me there always. But and if you're a homie, I'll support you. But make good music, and then I'll go.
Yeah, guys, step it up.
Yeah, exactly. All right, do I put this right here?
Yeah. You can just toss it right there.
All right.
Number 2.
Ooh, who do people often say you sound like? The Beatles is probably the thing I get the most. Which obviously I love that. I'll get Cheap Trick sometimes.
Totally.
I'll get Brian or the older one, Brian Adams, I think is his name.
Yes, the older one. Yeah.
One. I get him sometimes. I've gotten Rod Stewart before.
A lot of what?
Rod Stewart.
Oh, Rod Stewart.
Because I guess the raspy voice thing.
Yeah.
I get right now. I'm getting a lot of Oasis.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting some Big Star. I'm getting some Stone Roses. There's a guy named Emmett Rhodes. People who know him.
Dude, yeah. I think you put me on to Emmett Rhodes.
Yeah, he's the best. He's dude, banging.
There's 2 songs. I think it's his biggest 2 that are just incredible. It's
so good.
Down on My Face on the Floor or something.
Down with my face.
Down with my face on the floor is so good. And what's the other?
She's such a beauty, so young and so lovely. And then they've also got a someday someone special just for
that's
me.
The one. That's the one. Yeah, those 2 are incredible.
Somebody made for me. Somebody made for me.
Man, now I'm gonna go listen to that.
You guys should listen to Emmett Rhodes. I mean that's basically it. Also, maybe I'm just delusional and that's who I think I sound like, so I'm just hearing that. But I mean, a lot of people have been texting me a lot of that stuff. So
yeah, no, I think that lines up for sure.
Let's see what we got.
All right.
Least favorite song album from your favorite artist. Everybody knows. Okay, it's the Beatles, and it's Good Morning off of Sgt. Pepper. I don't know why I can't do it.
That's crazy.
Here's why I say it. Because number 9, obviously. But and like there's a couple of like Wild Honey Pie. Here's the thing. Those songs are like not supposed to be good. They're supposed to be weird.
Yes, I see.
Good Morning was a song they made to try and make a good song, and I love the verse of that song, and I love the pre-chorus of that song. The chorus makes me want to bash my head into a wall. Is so
what part is
Good morning.
That's crazy.
I hate that part,
bro. What?
But I love the part where it goes nothing to do.
Yeah, so sick.
How's your wife been? Here's the thing. I think it's because I like that other part so much that I just can't do that chorus. I don't know why.
Man.
It's bothered me since I was a kid, and it still bothers me.
That's
today.
so funny. That is like a favorite of mine on Sgt. Pepper's.
That's crazy.
Yeah, wow.
It can't be me, bro.
Damn, those are fighting words.
Nah, I know. We're gonna duke up later.
Yeah, that's on the Patreon. After that note, it's Fight Club style.
Let's see. Perfect album front to back. Well, I was holding one. Revolver.
Yeah.
I'm holding another one.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you only had more hands.
Yeah, exactly. I could be holding a few. The Stone Roses debut.
I really need to get into them, man.
That's one of the best albums I've ever listened to.
All right, that'll be my
honestly,
album
Third
today.
Eye Blind's debut. I've been obsessed with since I was a kid, and I still am. Let's see. I'm trying to do some rapid fire ones here. And then I don't have one.
Those are 2 good ones, though.
I'm trying to think.
Third Eye Blind came as a surprise to me.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite albums ever. Oh, London Calling by The Clash is perfect. In my opinion.
Yeah.
And Night at the Opera is not perfect, but other than the 2 songs I don't like, it's some of the best music ever by Queen.
Oh, okay.
I think Pet Sounds is perfect.
Yeah.
I think OK Computer's like practically perfect.
Let's go. Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, now we're talking.
I just listened to that the other day. I never put on OK Computer because I'm always putting on In Rainbows or Kid A.
Yeah, I know.
I threw that one on and I was like, yeah,
do you like Kid A better than OK Computer?
I do.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean.
After that note, I have another thing to fight you on.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. It's
fantastic. Those are their top three,
yeah.
in my opinion.
I mean, obviously they're so different. I was putting myself in the headspace when I was listening to OK Computer the other day that, like, okay, I'm listening to this as if this is what I'm expecting to hear 3 years after. And then getting Kid A. So I listened to Kid A after. I'm like, I can't even imagine.
I know.
I wish I could have been a fly on the wall of like some of the
Yeah.
biggest Radiohead fans like at the time.
Hearing that, you're like,
and
what?
watch their faces because there were no singles. No. There was no like clues as to what it was going to sound like. And everybody wanted like the next big savior of rock album. And then they got this like dystopian electronic.
It's so good. Everything in its right place is the coolest opening track ever.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I'm sure everybody on this pod hates me talking about Radiohead constantly, but
no.
I won't do it.
I don't.
I won't stop.
All right.
Last question.
Let's see. Dream 3-band bill. Okay.
I know you got a good one for this.
Yeah. Well, I think what I would do is I'd have I was gonna say I'd have George Harrison solo.
Okay.
Paul McCartney with his wife. There's the second bill.
Oh.
And then we'll have the Beatles headline.
Yeah.
No. I would do let's see. I mean my top three will have the Beach Boys open it up. Very fun summary.
Cool.
Of Queen right after him, just rocking that out.
Sure.
And then the Beatles playing to like a live stream from the galaxy or something.
Yeah, a nice
the
indie
only way
band.
we'll fit everybody is if
bill.
we're in outer space.
Okay.
For that bill, so
yeah.
That's
And this
the
is
venue we have
taking
to
place at Eddie's attic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a very small, intimate venue.
I would love to do it. That would be the Guinness World Record for how quick tickets would sell out.
Probably it'd be like half a second.
Half a second, yeah. But that's my 3-band bill. Those are my 3 favorite bands, I think. So.
Love it, dude. That's a Mount Rushmore for sure. You just need to add one more on there.
Kurt Cobain doing acoustic right before.
Very cool. All right, well, dude, Atticus, thank you for joining me for the newest episode of On That Note. Everybody needs to go listen to Pop World Domination, which is out in a couple days as this episode drops. And if you have any shows that you got coming up, you can plug them now. If not, follow Atticus.
Plugging it into the wall. April 26th, our release show. You may or may not see a special appearance from the Corduroy Blue.
Whoa.
We might
Reunion.
I know, exactly. We might have Caleb Heupel for a couple of songs, playing some guitar. So
nice.
It'll be a big deal. April 26th, upstairs at Smith's, Florence Cardigan, Frigga 5, me, Calico.
Very sick. Whoa. What a bill.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Talk about a dream.
That's a 4-band bill.
bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. So. Well, April 26th. 26th. Yeah, everybody be there. Smith's Old Bar. Pop World Domination. Thank you for coming on the podcast, Atticus.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
On That Note with Parker Whirling.